Welcome, everyone. This is Jennifer Sanchez. We are live right now on our Wise Morning Coffee Chats. So, this is very exciting. Welcome for everyone that's joining us this morning. And of course, just a brief welcome, and I wanted to share a little bit about who we are for those that are wondering. I am the host, Jennifer Sanchez, and I am the founder of the Women's Institute of Self-Development and Efficacy. And I know that's super long, so we just tell people call it WISE. And what we do is our goal is really just, and I say this every time, but I really was thinking about it over the weekends. We just help women get empowered in all areas of their life, right? Where it's spirituality, where it's business, where it's profession, where it's home, right? If we're not strong, even ourselves, our bodies, our temples, our minds, how are we going to be strong in our communities and in our jobs and in our careers? So, and we'll share more information about us at the end if you guys want to learn more or connect with us even more. But I have these awesome guests and co-hosts. So we have our co-host for the month, Cristina Coreas, and she is part of the WISE community, and she has been thriving. So she's going to be with us for the entire month of July. So we have like one more episode with her for this month. Oh, it's okay. We'll rotate you back in. No worries. So, Christina, go for it. Introduce yourself for anyone that's watching.
Sure. My name is Cristina Coreas. I am a mother, educator, a WISE contributor, and I am also helping my daughter with her business, which is Brave Girl Bracelets. And it's basically a non-for-profit to help other organizations, build their profit and do whatever they have to do with that money. So I'm excited to be on.
Nice. And actually, I'm going to make the announcement that we are actually bringing her on board, and she's going to be a WISE mentor, right?
Yeah.
So this is very exciting to have her as part of the leadership team too. So this is going to be fun stuff.
Yes, I'm super excited to also be part of the, I didn't want to say that. I was like, wait, am I part of it yet? But yes, now I'm part of the WISE leadership. So I'm also very excited to be part of that as well.
Awesome. And of course, we have our special guest, the infamous Mary Yee. We love Mary. So Mary, go for it. Introduce yourself and share a little bit about yourself to the viewers.
Hello, my name is Mary Yee, and as my name says, I am a Yee. I am Yee by marriage. I am Mexican, so I know when I walk in, a lot of people are like, wait a minute, you're not Chinese. So I am a mom. I am a mom to a 9-year-old vivacious little girl who is keeping me busy, and I am also a mom to a 21-day-old son who passed away to a virus. And I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a business coach, I am a health and fitness coach for Beachbody. So I help people and I coach them through their health journey, be it right now I'm trying to gain muscle, so it's not about losing weight all the time. And I am also part of the WISE leadership. So,
yay! So I think this is great, ladies, that we're on, and I think this is great to have the conversation. We have a lot of topics today. I think last week's topic, we got so consumed with Christina. What were we talking about? We were really
last week.
Last week. Goya, you're right. We were
Jennifer.
Oh, Goya is one of those things that
You know,
Ah,
to me, it's already boom. Bye,
it's
Felicia.
yeah, it is, but it's one of those things that it's really it heats people up, right? When they think about it, we've seen it, and it's pretty interesting, even myself, how how you get attacked for a view, right? And this is like beyond what we were going to talk about, but it just almost seemed as, and for the viewers, we can all have opposing views. Like Christina and Mary, we don't agree on everything, but we respect each other with the comments. Like if that's their belief, I have it's cool with me, but it's a little bit disheartening when you know that if you do put a view out there and someone is against it, that they'll immediately go to insults. That's that's an issue, right? It's not about having a difference of opinion. Who gives a damn? I don't give a damn, right? Like if you that's what you think, that's what you think. Cool. But it's different when now you insult and attack others. So I had some little like kickback from a post I made, and I was a little hesitant to post, but I'm glad that I posted it because I said, I'm not going to sit here and be afraid to share my opinion. This is why we have this show. Duh, right? Like this show is literally to share views and have conversation. And there's been times on this show that we might not agree on things, and it's okay, right? Like that's why you have like The Talk, The View. You have all these shows where women are talking and they all have opposing views, but they're not sitting there and insulting each other. They might get heated. I've seen some heated discussions, but they won't sit there and insult each other, right? So that's why we do what we do. So but besides that, go for it, Christina. I know it's your turn.
Okay, so today, like every Monday morning when we do this, we ask, what are you drinking today? What type of coffee? And if you're not drinking coffee, what is it that you're drinking? I've already said I'm not a coffee drinker, but I do teas, and I'll do smoothies as well. And today I'm just drinking some ginger tea with lemon and honey, which is really good for your immune system. So ladies, if you're not drinking the coffee, drink some ginger tea. It is so good, especially right now with all this COVID stuff happening. Drink up and protect your immune system.
Yeah.
And Jennifer, what are you drinking today?
So of course, I love coffee. I do drink coffee. I love it black. I can't have it any other way. No sugar. And right now, it's one of the biggest things that's making me survive in life. And I share this because if you have not been following me, we are training for a half marathon. So I need caffeine. A lot of runners and athletes use caffeine for their training. And I'm like, I don't go over 1 cup though. Like I say, okay, 1 cup a day is max. I try to keep it to 1 cup a day because 2 cups, I know it's not the best for you, but at least I know if I have one big, strong cup of coffee, right? And I have the K cup, the machine, the Keurig. If I put just that biggest option on that thing, make that one big coffee, I'm good for the rest of the day, right? So, and we do drink amazing coffee on the show. One of our sponsors, she provides coffee to us, so that's exciting, and it's Café de Olla. So that's the coffee I'm drinking this morning, and like I said, I like it dark and strong. So, Mary.
So I'm drinking black coffee.
How you gonna do that?
It's yeah, I normally put in the cinnamon because I have a Ninja. So it does single cups, but you put in your own strong you want it. And I normally put cinnamon in it, but my husband made it for me without the cinnamon, but I'm still drinking it.
We could put a little bit of cinnamon powder in there,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. So, and then I told Jennifer I'm drinking it out of my family reunion cup. If you guys can see, like
Christina, look at that cup.
this is the family reunion.
Oh,
Like it goes all the way around, and
That's
this is just my husband's side.
that's just her
oh
husband.
wow. He has a big family.
Yeah.
That's what I
So
said. Okay, I'm not trying to be stereotypical here, but I was like, dang, you up there with us Mexicans over here with some big families.
my family is small compared to his, so it's total opposite.
Wow. See, there we go. We learned something new today of Mary.
Yep.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, he's the youngest of 12.
Nice, nice. So let us know, whoever's watching. We want to know what coffee you're drinking. Even if you jump on late, we'll keep reiterating, share what coffee, right? What's the coffee that you're drinking? Because we want to have coffee with you. We want to engage with our viewers and our listeners, and we want to make sure that you guys are part of the conversation as well. So we want to, if you have a comment or you have an opinion about something, say it, and we'll make sure we put it on the air while we're discussing, because I think it's critical for everyone to engage. Also, we see Alexandra is on. She said, good morning. Good morning, Alexandra. Let us know what you're drinking this having our show. All right. So, of course, we got to go into our topics.
Did she
Uh-oh.
break?
She froze.
Oh no.
Oh, maybe she'll hop back in right now. I don't know
Yeah.
if everyone else can hear us.
Yeah, I don't
Can you
even.
hear us when she
Lost everyone. Shoot. I got booted off.
Oh no.
I think it ended it. Hold on. Let me make sure.
was it because we said Goya?
Right? Let me look.
They're monitoring that.
Yeah, I think it kicked me off completely. Are we still on? Can you see it?
I see it, but I think that's from
The
yeah. But it says live, so I don't know.
It's saying live?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we're still on.
Okay, good. Okay, let me make sure. Then I'm just going to click go live, so hopefully it doesn't give us no interruptions. I'm just going to make sure that all my Wi-Fi is off on other devices. Okay. So we had some technical difficulties, everyone, but we're back.
We're back.
We're back. Yay, that's what counts. It's, we got to jump back up. So we were talking about, I wanted to just mention a little bit, since we are from all of us live in the Chicagoland area, and we know that we have viewers from other locations. We did want to talk about Mayor Lightfoot. I actually want to talk about Mayor Lightfoot. And I kind of just brought it up because I watched the press conference they had last week. I think it was Friday they had it. And I just thought, when I was listening and watching them, I thought, man, they really doing their thing. They really are taking care of business, in my opinion. Maybe others might not agree, but I was watching. They're on the numbers. They know, like, even the way the doctor, I forgot her name. She's from the health department. Do you guys know her name? Maybe I don't remember her name. And if anyone's watching might know her name, let me know. But she was really big on the numbers, and this is what we're trying to stay under. We're trying to stay under 5% of people getting COVID. And yes, they're doing tests every day, and I think the numbers is 200 people are getting COVID per day right now. I think that's what it is, that they're testing positive, but it's nearly nowhere near compared to the numbers when they hit their peak a couple of months ago, right? Where they were at one point, they said that they were having 100 to 200 deaths a day. Now they're only at 3 to 4 deaths a day, and they just can't wait until they get 0 deaths a day, right? And they were urging the community, okay, we did all this work, we've been wearing our masks. Like, I think we have been a very proactive city overall. uh, but they want to inform people, like, don't stop. It's not over. Just, it's summertime. Don't stop. Keep the precaution up. Keep doing the same thing. So I just wanted to share that. I don't know if you guys had any thoughts on it, but I wanted to share my thought around that.
No, I think, it's a pandemic, right? This is not something that happens like every 10 years, every 20 years. This is something that's new to everybody. And I think that they're trying to handle it as best as possible. I mean, despite the circumstances, despite the support of our president, I think they're doing the best that they can and trying to take as much precaution as possible with the limited amount of funds that we have as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So thank you, Mary. Do you have any thoughts on that, or?
I think she is the mayor that Chicago needs, regardless of anything. She's being the strong, powerful woman that is needed. She's the mom that everybody should be listening to. Like, if your mom says, get your butt in the house, then you get your butt in the house before the lights come on, right? So...
Yeah, she's super Chicago. She's super Chicago for real. Like, I listen and I'm like, oh, she from Chicago, right? Like, because even she'll say, like, if I see your butt without a mask, I forgot what she said. She said something about, if I see you without a mask out there, I'm going to take you out of your car, turn off the car, and make you walk home. Like, I was like, whoa. Yeah. All right. Like, there we go. Like, she's just like, no. And she even, yeah, it's nice to see that. I think she lives in Logan Square, if I'm not mistaken. I think she lives in the city. She lives in Logan Square. So, I mean, you have to have. Who was our previous mayor? Mayor Emanuel, right? I don't remember if he was from Chicago. I don't think he was. I know he was with President Obama, and he was working with him in D.C. before he got elected as mayor in Chicago. But I don't think he was an actual resident prior. And I might be wrong. And if I am, let me know. I might be wrong, though.
Where he lived.
I think maybe he moved in because of, like, I know he worked with President Obama, but former President Obama, but I don't think he before was a Chicago resident, So we have Amel. Good morning, ladies. So let us know, Amel, what coffee you drinking, girlfriend. Everyone that jumps on, let us know. So next topic. And this is some good stuff Christina provided that we wanted to talk, since we're still on the COVID conversation. We're on the pandemic. There were some articles, and can you go ahead, Christina, and kind of start sharing what you read?
So I think you and I had both found kind of completely articles that were completely opposite of the spectrum when it comes to COVID and how some countries are handling it. And in Africa, there are the title of the article is called "Unsung Army of Women Wage War on COVID-19," and it's a really nice. It's nice to see that these women are basically, they're heroes. Because what they're doing is, we all know, Africa is a very impoverished country. And so they don't have the means or the resources that we would say here. And, but what they're doing is they're really trying to help support their country because they want to avoid from risk spreading. And so these are women who are like foot soldiers that are going from house to house, bringing information to the people who live in Kenya and other little small areas in Africa that do not have, they don't have the resources to know the resources to learn what is best suited for this type of pandemic, or the information. They don't get the information provided. And so these women go on foot from house to house, and they inform the people from Kenya and other cities, and talk to them about ways that they can sanitize. And I think they even, because I think, what did I tell you? Was it 14% of people? I want to get my facts straight, but I think it was a very low number of people who have access to clean water and soap in their homes. And so they've even found a way of how to kill germs, or even, traces of the virus, like with bleach and water. And so they don't get paid for this. They're risking their own health and their own lives to go to people's homes and to give them information. There are no masks. They don't have, money to buy masks. I think, Jennifer, you said that the average income in Africa is about $8,000. So again, it's a very impoverished country. And they're just doing God's work. To me personally, that's how I feel. It's God's work, because you're out there risking your life, and you want the best for your country. And so they're going out there doing their thing to help others who don't otherwise have access to resources.
Yeah. I love you said God's work, because a lot of times people think that it's okay. Some people think that God's work means you have to be just doing ministry and being in a church or speaking behind a pulpit or whatever, right? Like, I think we keep hearing this idea of like God's work, but selling health products and making people healthy is God's work. Teaching people on taking care of themselves and protect themselves from COVID, that's God's work, right? Like, you're still, getting people out of poverty, that's God's work, right? Like, and I think we got to change the mindset around that. So I appreciate you sharing that. It is. And, when I read that, I thought to myself, like, wow, like, I mean, I think they even travel to other countries. It's not only Kenya. I read Egypt there, right? So they're going to different parts of Africa to educate their neighbors. I think at the end it said they were just concerned about their neighbors. Bottom line, that was like the mission. Like, let's just share this information to our neighbor. And quickly, we have Amel. She said that she is drinking ginger, mint, cinnamon, and pineapple tea. That sounds delicious. So that's awesome. And I think the reason why I brought up Colombia was because I read a different article that's on the different side of the spectrum, right? So we have Africa, and this group of women, they're really proactive in teaching people about what's going on. But then in Colombia, we have also proactive, but it's more in a extreme manner, where it's more in the sense of that they are threatening people. You cannot leave your home. That's, they are forcing the 6 feet apart. The militants there are threatening them, killing them, right? In certain parts of Colombia, if you leave your home, you can't even go get food if you need to go get food. And many times, this is like a daily thing. People need to leave their home daily basis to go get food, especially if you don't have fridges. Think about it, right? Like, when we have a fridge, that's a luxury, because we get to keep everything in the fridge and it keeps it cool, right? But before the fridges were even created, how did people get their food? Every day they would go get their food from wherever and prepare it for that day. That's the same thing with Colombia. A lot of people need to get their food that day. Yeah. So it's disheartening. So it was a human rights article that I read, and they were just bringing this to the attention and trying to get the attention of other countries to go in and help with the situation there, because people are starving. It's terrible. So there's 2 forms of helping people with the COVID situation, and one's very extreme, where you're actually killing people, and another one is where it's more like, let me empower you and educate you. I'm going to risk my own life. It's the selflessness behind it versus the controlling and the
just
Almost.
a very dominant, and I know you said helping, but I don't know how that's even helping.
Yeah, I take that word back. That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
I think Italy took an approach to that when they started, but it wasn't about killing people. Like, they locked people down. You weren't allowed to go anywhere unless it was work. And if you were working, you had to have a note saying that you were going to work. So,
And even if you were going to the grocery store, I think it was anywhere, because I have a friend who does live in Italy, and she said even to, like, you had to fill out that form if you were going to go to the grocery store. Anywhere that was not essential, you were not allowed to go, but you had to fill something out before you left your house.
right.
So if you got stopped,
Yeah.
you
I mean,
were.
that's interesting, right? We thought that we were going to need notes here to be essential workers. That's in the beginning. I remember people were like, "Do we need a letter to go travel and all that stuff?" I think that was something that was a concern too, right here in the United States. I don't know how other states, but I know that we are really proactive. Our state, our city is really proactive compared to other states, right?
Yeah.
That's why they put even that 14-day quarantine rule. Like, you go travel and you come back, or even if you're coming here, traveling here to hang out for the summer, you need to quarantine yourself, kind of like how Hawaii was doing it, right? My question is, how do you track that? That's where I still haven't been able to do the research on it. But how do you know people left or didn't leave, right? But anywho, anyone that's watching, you want to share your tidbits on your thoughts on what's going on, or a different country handling it a little differently, share it in the comment section. And if you're drinking something, let us know. But we have to go into the next topic because we know it's a really important one. School in the fall. I think this one is gonna be this is the hot topic of the week. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's saying, do we send our kids to school? A lot of people are very opposed to it. Some are like, I want to send my kids to school, right? And I feel like I'm a guilty person or a horrible person if I want to send my child to school. So I thought, let's just have a conversation about this. So Christina, you want to kick off the convo?
Sure. Well, I guess we could start off with saying I think that even here in Illinois, in the different suburbs and even the city, there's so many different ideas as to how this should be handled, right? How do our students or children go back to school? I've heard so many different options. CPS as being one of them. I'm a CPS employee, and so I'm definitely watching that like a hawk to see what are they going to be doing. But I've also heard from friends who live in different suburban areas that their the way that their towns and cities are handling it are are different as well. And so I'm going to start off with CPS because that's what I know more so. I know Mayor Lightfoot had a conference, I believe, on Friday that kind of discussed what their preliminary plan is. And so they discussed options where it would be a hybrid model and students would be going to school as groups. So there would be two different types of pods. It would be A and B, and then a mix of remote as well. And there would be no more than 15 students to a pod. They're saying that whoever works with the students from the beginning of the year, it would be from the beginning to the end. And that every Wednesday, I believe, would be a virtual remote form of teaching for the teachers. But then, so that's kind of like the idea of how this model would work. They're talking about providing more hand sanitizers, face masks, temperature checks, and some type of assessment. I don't know what kind of assessment they're going to give them, but some type of symptom assessment. And so it seems as though they have a plan in place. But at the same time, there's that discussion of like, is this even the best form? And I've been looking and reading up, even different mom groups and threads where moms are like, no, I am not sending my kid to school. I do not feel comfortable. This virus is still pretty active. And so it's definitely a controversial topic. And it was so funny. I don't know if you guys have seen that meme that's out there with I think she's an SNL star, but she's making this face when they say, remote learning. And she's like, and then they say, in school or at home, or sorry, in school learning. She's making the same face. And then, yeah. So it's like they were talking about basically in that little meme, just how no way is a good way to do this. Like homeschool, remote or in school, like, I don't know. It's okay. And I think that's how all of us are right now. All of us are so up in the air with this. Like, what is the best option for my child, right? I'm concerned about the social aspect of my child and how they will, how essential that is, how important it is for their development. But then I'm also concerned with their overall health. And is this okay? Physical health, I take that back, not overall, because again, when you're exposing your child to the different social environments, that's also part of their mental health, and mental health is really important too. So again, this is just one of those topics that's pretty
delicate. Yeah, and it's delicate too, right?
Yeah.
So we have Jackie Porter. She said, "Good morning, ladies." We also have some of the women having conversations here that they got letters because they're essential workers to go to work. And even Mel, she had to give some letters in her job to her team that they're essential workers. So we have Alexandra. She said, "I wanted to send them, but now I have mixed feelings about it." Like, yeah, it's very delicate. Let's just be honest, right? As a mom, you want to send them off to school. Like, shoot, I need you to go to school. Like, let's just be honest. I need my mental health, right? But then at the same time, you have to think, well, if we're remote working, how fair is it to our children to send them to school when a lot of companies are still having their teams work from home? There's something wrong there, right? If even if you see it in politics, if governing bodies are meeting remotely, like, and you guys are making decisions about children going back to school, like, there needs to be some more discussion on this, because it just doesn't align, right, with it. So I don't know if Mary, you wanted to share some tidbits or share some thoughts after what Christina said.
Yeah, I think I would love we haven't gotten anything from our school, and for the last quarter that Hayden had in school, I mean, she was off the day that everything shut down. They were just about to start their quarter. So their plan at that point was like, well, we're going to be on spring break, so we'll let it go. We'll be back in a couple weeks. No. So their plan was they would meet every other day via Zoom for an hour. And Fridays was free for all. And I am in the mind doing the rest of the day teaching her, trying to do my work. And I'm like, she's not learning anything. And in the end, she didn't even grade for the final quarter because they couldn't grade them on anything. So to me, that does not work. I think they need to be on longer. And unfortunately, another mom said it's not healthy for them to be on a computer for more than 3 hours. And well, how much time are they on their iPad right now? Because I know mine's is on the time because she's trying to socialize with everybody. So if they figure out a way where like maybe an hour they take a break, come back, teach another lesson, an hour, take a lunch, come back in an hour. Because my friend has a special needs daughter, and that's how they do it. They start their morning with their morning song. They do their activity. They take a break for lunch. They come back. They do their therapies. They break off in groups with their teachers and their therapists, and then they're done by 2:00. So I think if they structure it where there are lessons instead of just, okay, just do this online, and the parents have no idea. Because, I mean, unfortunately, we do have areas where a lot of people maybe didn't even finish high school. And how are they supposed to teach their kids?
Yeah. I can see that as being an issue, being a graduate of the Chicago public school system, how that could be not beneficial to low income and working families, right? So for me now as an adult with my own children, right? For us, the whole situation that kicked off at the end, I think our school handled it very well. They gave assignments. We made sure that, I mean, regardless, even though I wasn't actually teaching curriculum, I was on them about curriculum, right? Like, okay, well, what's the assignment today? Let's look at what everything you got to do. My 12-year-old was a little bit more, sufficient, and she could handle it, independent. She could handle it. I still checked on her, and she still asked for help when she needed it. The younger one, the kindergartner, was like, okay, this is all the stuff I got to work on. Here's my workbooks. Here's my lessons. Here's my chapters. Here's the books I need to read. So I was like, dang it. I'm sitting here like, is this how much kindergartners learn? I think by law, they're only supposed to learn, I think it's of actual learning, like was like an hour and a half or something like that, Christina. I think you even confirmed it. The rest is supposed to be all play activities. So I was really involved with the 6-year-old, and I wanted to yank my hair out at some points, right? Because it was like, but I had that flexibility though, where it was like they weren't really telling us the time structure. They were just like, get this done,
right?
Figure it out. That's how they handle it. I said, cool. All right, wake up. And I had like a system for them, and I made sure they got it done by the end of the day. But I know not everyone's capable of doing that. I'm sure my parents would have no clue how to handle that if it was me, the child, and we were in a pandemic. What year was that? Whatever, like in the 90s, right? Like it would not work, right? So what are you guys thinking?
Well, there's an article I think I had sent you about just this whole thing, right? We're in that either or area. It's like this fuzzy line that we're in. We don't know what to do, and it seems as though either way you go, there's going to be negative effects, period, right? But one of the things that this article was arguing is the fact that a lot of our Black and Indigenous Latinx communities, low income and disabled communities are more at risk in terms of academic achievements and success because they lack access to certain things such as food. So some parents really depend on those lunches and those breakfasts that the school provides for them. The services that they get that are face to face, like if you get speech path services or social work services, or anyone who needs that extra assistance because maybe their child is autistic, right? And they don't know how to handle, the academics for their child, and so it's really hard for those communities, right? Because they're the ones that will be impacted the most. The people who do not have those financial resources are going to be impacted the most because, again, they're not going to have access to those essentials that they need in order for their kids to be successful. And not only that, a lot of our low-income families will need to work in, factories or places in which they can't work remotely. I'm blessed, and in the fact that, my other half, he can work remotely, right? And, this past pandemic, I was able to work remotely. I don't know what it's going to be like this time, but we were blessed in that sense too, that I had access, or we had access to internet, laptops, and even the knowledge, right, to access these things, because we both are professionals that work with technology. Some of these parents don't know. They don't have access to printers. They don't have access to internet. Some of these kids, I had, right in the beginning of where all this had started, they were using their iPhone to look for, the materials and go online through a small screen. Tell me how that is productive, or even, something that you could do every single day for months, or, and that was back then. Now, imagine if we said this all year long, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so again, our Latinx communities, our Black communities, our Indigenous communities, those are the ones that are going to be impacted the most. And again, we may have, blessings that allow us to be able to help our children, but not everyone has that. And so that we have to really be mindful of that as well. But either way you look at it, right? We had that, there was a situation where there was, I think it was 3 teachers that were Arizona teachers, and they were meeting just to kind of, plan out, get prepared for like the year. And one of those teachers, all 3 of them contracted the COVID, and one of them passed away.
Wow.
So again, this is crazy, because we're talking about also the medical part of this, right? I just recently read in that same article that some people who said they're asymptomatic later on will have symptoms of stroke or some type of brain, something that happens with their brain. I have to go back into the article. I'll look for it right now while we're continuing to talk about this. But again, what do we do? What do we do? Because yes, we understand the academics are important, and that some families need that daycare because they need to survive and they need to go to work.
Yeah.
But then what do we do with these kids that could get affected, and the parents don't have health insurance, right? They don't have health insurance. They don't have access to the medical part of this. They struggle already, and now going to expose their families to their physical health being harmed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that you bring in the perspective, and as an educator, because you are a teacher, you are the one that's going to end up probably going to the school, and you have to work with the kids, right? And you literally work with low income Latinx families. That is the area that you're in. Mary, you're a parent, and for you guys, you might not be able to work remotely, from my understanding. I think
I have to go in, because I work for a company who provides books to the colleges. So college kids are going back. We have, you saw the pile that that I have to go through. So for me, I can't. I have to go into the office. My husband can stay, but he's constantly on calls because his industry is in food, and that's not going anywhere. So he's constantly trying to have these meetings. So Hayden will probably be struggling because she's trying to get her stuff done. He's trying to get his stuff done. We're not on. It's just going to be hard. And to me, I don't think it's safe for anybody to go back. I really don't. And I've already buried a child, and I've buried a parent, I've buried a grandparent, my virus, not my dad or my grandparents, but and I lost my dad and my grandparents in 1 year. So don't think, I would hate to put anybody in that position, and our kids being asymptomatic, but having that known that they could have been the cause of their friends having their parents sick.
Mm.
And even us as teachers, like you mentioned, Jennifer, like we also have teachers who have autoimmune diseases, who, are elderly or, they're older, so they're more at risk. And again, like Mary, you mentioned, there's people who don't have symptoms. And so they're going to go home, and then I run the risk of spreading that to my mother, because sometimes he travels. And so I need someone to take care of my daughter when I'm at work. So then who's going to take care of my daughter? And am I going to have to take off of work then? And how's that going to impact my job? Are they going to fire me because I'm not there when I need to be there? I mean, there's no right way with this. And going back, I just wanted to go back and clarify what I had said with the whole physical part of it. It says, that, the virus could be contracted through the eyes, not just the mouth or nose, and that it is a disease that may attack the brain and result in strokes for those who otherwise were symptom-free. So, again, there's no right way. And then let's talk about this real quick too. What about the social emotional health of children? Because children who are in complete isolation that run the risk of more suicide, depression, anxiety, being on the computer like all day long with no social interaction. As parents, I can't tell you how many times, like when we were here working remotely, Mila was done with her work and I was like, okay, just give me a second. And I was ignoring her for hours, and I only have one child, right? And so it's really hard for us as parents with just one to entertain. And I'm not saying that I need to entertain her. She could entertain herself. But again, every day, with no interaction from her peers and just her parents who are basically working all day long, that's going to make an impact on her emotional state as well.
These are
all things that we have to consider.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot to think about. And I think, like you said, there is no right way to handle this, right? And we're in a pandemic, right? And I think for those that are struggling with, well, what's the right way? The right way is what's right for your family, right? That's the right way. And that's where you have to voice your concern. And I think we have to start getting more proactive of voicing our concerns, writing those letters, making those petitions, right? Getting educated and getting empowered. Like I have been on a mission of figuring out what I can do as a parent for my kids, right? And how can I have them still have their social interaction with other children in a safe manner, right? In the sense of, okay, I obviously don't feel comfortable throwing them in school. I just don't. I'm at home, you're at school. Even though I work from home, I don't feel comfortable knowing that you're at school around all these people when I'm not comfortable being around too many people. That just goes against what I'm feeling, right? And I do gather, like we started gathering and running in the mornings with a couple of women on the weekend, right? Mary and me and you, we've been running together, but we're distant, we're just, but it's so relieving to like talk to someone else that's not my husband or my kids, right? Like, it's like, yes, we do this, but there's something different when you actually gather face to face versus just, this can only work for so long. So I can only imagine like my daughter, right? Like I actually started putting her in runs with me. Like we've been running together because for her, she needed these stress relievers, especially the older one. I needed to help her cope with her emotions. And she started calling our runs God runs, right? Because she's like, we're talking about things and she's like looking into her spiritual side of life and what does this mean and what does that mean, right? And now I'm sitting here like, okay, we go to dance, I'm trying to see how they're handling COVID in her dance school. Because I do want her to still socialize. So they are still having classes. Even that, that owner from that dance school, I feel for her because she can't open, right? Like, this is her how she survives, and she hasn't made one dime because she can't have kids in the studio. So I had to visit her last week for, trying on some of her costumes because we didn't have a recital, and she was telling me, we're going to have a class, we're going to only have this many kids in the class, we're going to make sure they're 6 feet apart, they have to wear their masks, they can't drink water, they have to bring their own water bottles, no parents can hang out in the waiting area anymore, kids cannot go in the locker rooms, like, it's you're in and out, you can't use the bathroom. Like, she's putting all these precautions in place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I could work with this. And I talked to my daughter, and I said, you know what? I think this is doable for her to still, dance, get some stress relief, be around other kids her age. So that's in addition to homeschooling for my family. I am looking into homeschooling,
And I
because
think you really nailed it in the head when you said, do what's best for your family, right? Because everyone has these different circumstances and situations and the way they feel about this. And another thing that you mentioned that was really key was use your voice. There's so many, CPS has a survey out there for parents to fill out to talk about what they feel comfortable with. My daughter's school did the same. Mary, you said your school hasn't yet, but Jennifer, I think you said your school has. And I think there's a lot of districts that are trying to put a plan in place and sending surveys out there. So if you are a parent and you want your voice to be heard, then fill those surveys out,
Yes, Christina, we have to speak up. If you don't feel comfortable, let it be known. If you need the support, let it be known. But no one's going to be able to help you if they don't know, right? Um, so, yeah, I think that's powerful. And I see that people are jumping on. And I think there's a resource I wanted to share with people, because this whole thing is about empowerment, right? We want to empower people to make the right decision, whatever decision they make. There's no right or wrong answer. And we don't ever want someone to feel guilty because, well, oh, Jennifer's homeschooling her kids, I can't homeschool my kids. Like, that's not the purpose of this. That was the decision I made. I will share a resource. If it works for you, cool. Like, take advantage of it, right? That's how I'm seeing it. It might not be the case for everyone. So thank you for pointing that out, Christina, because I want to be mindful of everyone. Like, for example, I got this resource. It's hslda.org, and it's a national organization. There's a couple of things I wanted to share if those that are looking into homeschooling, if you feel, because if my school doesn't offer 100% remote learning, I'm probably not going to send them to school. That's just me, right? I need remote learning. I think even though it was a stressor for me, I was able to handle it and help them. And that's why I wake up so early in the morning. Like, there's a reason why I do things, because I need to take care of my stuff, get it out of the way, and then I can dedicate this time to them and then work again at nighttime, right? So I've been inquiring and doing some research, and there's a lot of curriculum out there to teach kids.
Yeah.
Like, there is so much out there, but in this website, you can look up per your state, right? And see what are the laws that you need to follow to homeschool. And according to them, if you homeschool or unschool them, it's basically like you are putting them in private school. It's almost like a private school in your own home. You do have to state the name, like Jennifer's school or whatever, Y's school, Y's kindergarten through sixth grade. I'm just throwing things out there, but here's this school. This is what you're going to teach in the school. There are rules. So for the state of Illinois, if I remember correctly, you do have to teach language art. You do have to teach. It stated everything that you have to make sure gets taught in the school. My thing that I'm trying to figure out is, okay, I want to put you back though when this is over. Like, I ain't trying to keep this. So what's the process of taking you out? Because you have to actually pull them out and withdraw them from school and fill out forms and stuff. what's the process of me once I do all this? How do I plug you back in? Like, because I don't want to. Once it's done, I'm throwing you back in school, right? Um, so that's something that I wanted to share with a couple people on top of, Christina's survey for those that are at Chicago Public School. And then there's an actual event called Virtual Homeschool Summit that talks more about the homeschooling and unschooling. So for those that want to learn more, they have an event. I believe it's early August. It's maybe in like 2 weeks away that you can go and learn and see what's out there. It's all about educating ourselves. Even if you decide not to homeschool, what are your options, right? What's out there? So I just wanted to share those links and make sure that if anyone wants them, I'll put them in the comment section too, so that they can look into it for themselves. Maybe moms can start creating homeschooling environments in their own homes. Like,
Yeah.
we make communities happen all the time. Like, one mom can hold 6 kids. Like, that to me, not, would be safer. Not that I would want to homeschool other children, because I think that's a big responsibility. But if women are comfortable, what's wrong with one mom taking, 2 of her friends' kids in addition to her own kids and teaching the same curriculum, right? Like, how would that look like? So it's just it's so much, and
Yeah, and I think with homeschool, they have a little bit more liberty to be out. So like my friend, she does homeschooling. So like she will get together with another mom and they'll go to like the museum, and that's their art lesson for the day, or they'll go somewhere else and that'll be their lesson for the day. So if they're out and they're still interacting, that might be more helpful.
yeah. I did read that you can actually still connect with your district possibly and still partake in extracurricular activities. So like if you homeschool but they have like a basketball team, like you can still have them play that sport after school. So, but there's a way that you have to like get in touch with your school, figure that out, and then look into the homeschooling and see how you can work those two together. Like there's just so much knowledge out there, and we're just trying to break it down right now.
And that's if they do allow them to do the after school activities too, because honestly, we don't know how that's going to look either. Like my big question too is like, for example, I'm a reading interventionist, so I don't see one set of students. I see like students that are all over the place inside the school. And so I'm like, how's that going to work for me? And how's that going to work for teachers who are like the prep teachers? So the music teacher, the art teacher, the gym teacher, they see the entire school. Like one person, the entire school sees them. What's that going to look like for them? So are they going to take extracurriculars out, or are they going to make those teachers work remotely? Like, what does that look like for those teachers who are exposed to more than just the 30 students sitting in front of them?
There is that meme out there with the teacher hanging up from the ceiling. Like, you know how they have those ceilings that where the boards pop out? She's like looking down at the class. It's like, oh my goodness, it's ridiculous.
Crazy. Anyone then she'll probably still catch it.
Yeah, I mean, we know there's risk factors. We know we've talked about vitamin C. We've talked about like in other shows, like things to keep our immune system up. Like I think maybe we're onto something here. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen, all right? But everyone that's watching, maybe what we got to do is get women in our community to do homeschools and take on other kids. Like that's my only thought. Like I would feel comfortable, like if I knew my friend or this person in this community is homeschooling and she's willing to take my 2 kids, right? And I pay you for it. I would feel comfortable doing that, right? Because like, first of all, I say, are you quarantined? Are you quarantining yourself and your kids? Like, be real with me. Don't beat around the bush. If you've been hanging out with, tu madrina and comadre and all that stuff, like, I don't know about all that. But if you've been actually quarantining yourself and, I don't see that as an issue. Like, I would feel comfortable with that.
Bring them over to me.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to
Yeah, there
Christina's
you go.
house. That's where I'm
Christina's,
going.
that's where it is. Christina's starting a school. We know it. And she only has space for 6 kids. So, you know, she will be teaching. We're just throwing that, to me, would be like, I would be more comfortable if I knew it was a class of no more than 10 kids or a class no more than 8 kids, right? Like, I'm just trying to think like what would be realistic for people. You have a class of 20 to 30 kids. Now I'm concerned, right?
And what's going to happen in the fall, by the way, because they say that the numbers are going to go back up, you
Yes,
know, because the
kids
season's
are.
changed.
The
And
flu, yeah, the flu's gonna be back, and
yeah,
these little kids are petri dishes. So
oh yeah.
Yeah, they don't know. They don't know they can't hug. They don't know. Like,
We're
I'm
not going to keep that mask on, by the way.
no, no. By the way, I found this awesome
They're
mask.
already,
Hold on. This mask is the bomb, Christina. You got to look into this. They sell them at Walgreens now, okay? I don't know if there's Walgreens everywhere, but I love this, and I'm even gonna get it for the retreat because we are gonna have a retreat in September, you guys. Yes, yes, we are. Because women have been asking me for it, so I'm gonna meet the demand in a mindful, conscious COVID way, right? So, but there's these masks, Christina, and you should try them. They're like scarves, and they're cooling. You could buy them on Amazon. They're selling them at Walgreens, and they have this like stretchy spandexy type feel to it. Um, so when you put it on, I could breathe in it. I can run in it. I feel comfortable in it.
really.
Yes. So I was like, okay, my daughter Ines was
Is it the
not,
one that has like it's kind of like a scarf. It comes down to here, or no? Isn't that
it
the
looked,
like
it
a
looked,
tube.
it looks like a scarf. Like yesterday when I was running with the ladies, I had it around my neck and it was comfortable. You could use it as a fashion statement if they start making like
Color
designs.
pattern.
You should post that in the link.
Yeah, I'll post it. You could wear it as a headband. You could wear it as a whole headscarf. You could wear it on your arm. You could wear it over your face. Yeah, you love the headband. So I found it at
Yeah.
Walgreens as I was checking out. I just saw it and I said, what is this? And I just took it and I bought it. I put it on to work out. I felt comfortable working out and I didn't feel like I was dying, like with other masks. So I'm like, maybe this would be better for children because it's cooling. They can breathe through it. And that's my concern was the masks, right, for the kids. So I think they're called cooling scarves. And then I told my husband's like, that's what construction workers always use to begin with. When they're doing certain things, they keep this mask on because of dust and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this is something maybe ladies would. Jackie said, "Show it to us, Jennifer." Jeez, it's somewhere in my house, and I can't go get it right now. But I'll put the link for sure. And even in my post of when I was running, I had it over my neck. It looked like a bandana. But yeah, I wanted to make that suggestion because I fell in love with them, so I'm just telling everybody about it. So
Yeah, 'cause they're trying to say that you should start accustoming your kid to wearing a mask now for 2 hours. Like put it on in 2-hour increments so that they can start, because that's the other thing, the teachers are going to have to be policing the kids, like cover your face, cover your face. And I have to do that constantly with my daughter, and she's 9 and she's like, oh, it doesn't fit right. So yeah, you're going to have to go through masks that are going to fit the kids, like they're on right.
yeah.
And how would teachers who have masks on? That's another thing I was thinking about. Was like, how would a teacher that's in front of the class going to teach? What if they can't understand them because they've got this mask on their face and they sound muffled? Or there's times where I'm like even like getting ice cream or going somewhere and the person's wearing the mask. They can't understand me. I can't understand them. So I'm literally like, pulling my mask on a little bit and saying like, oh, can I blah, 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 blah. And this is like at a distance where we're close. So imagine like a classroom where you're in the front of the room and you're trying to teach a lesson. How are you going to do that?
Yeah, and our verbal in our cues, right? Our facial cues. We've been reading that book, right, on our facial
Activate.
expressions and our micro expressions that sometimes we read those. So, if I'm like this, like how do you know I'm laughing? How do you know I'm laughing? Like if I'm like this, right? Like
Right.
you're gonna see my
Your
crow's feet,
eyes.
right? You're gonna see the crow's feet, or how you know I'm mad. Like we're gonna have to really like Tyra Banks used to say like smizing.
Smiles. Yep.
Yes, we used to watch the show too, didn't you, Mary? That was America's Next Top Model show. She would say you need to smize with your eyes. What's that mean? Yeah,
Smiling with your eyes.
yeah. So
I didn't watch it.
I used to watch the first couple of seasons when I was younger. So Alexandra said a mask that's like a scarf is an idea with regular mask when my boys would handle it at the beginning of the year when we catch the flu. Uh, so yeah, so definitely something to think about when it comes to these masks. I just ordered a mask with a clear sheet in the mouth area to show off my lipstick. That's cute. That's cute. I heard of people. There was this woman that was making masks that were clear for the deaf and
It was a
the
little girl.
yeah and the deaf
Oh,
and the
wow, so
mute
cool.
because they depend so much on
Lip.
the read lips
And our
and
ESL learners, the students who are English language learners. I'm an English language. Well, I grew up basically, knowing just Spanish, and then I went to school and it was like all English, and then I picked up. I was fine, but I noticed that even still as an adult, I look at people's lips when they're talking, like not just their eyes, but at their lips. And sometimes I'm paying attention. I'm like, oh my God, I hope people are like not. Like, are my eyes zooming in on their lips as they talk? Like, can they see me doing that?
I'll be like, are you looking at my teeth, girlfriend? What's going on
Do
here?
I have something?
Yeah, I can. Our students who are ELL, they do that too. They look at people's lips. They're reading people's lips when they're talking. So
That makes sense. I remember when off the topic, they tried throwing me in ESL classes when I moved to a new school. I was like, take me out of this. This is not helping me. Right?
My mom had to do that for my sister too because of her last name. They assumed she needed English language. She's like, no, she speaks perfect English. We speak English at home. She does not need to be put in that kind of a class.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. They did that to me too. So that was just random topic.
And just off the topic too, parents, real quick, if you don't want your child to be in a bilingual classroom, or first of all, number one, let me just say this because I think people need to understand. Bilingual classrooms are not for teaching your child how to speak Spanish. Okay? So please do not put your child in bilingual classrooms because you think that is going to be to teach them the language. It is not. You are going to do a disservice to your child. So that's number one. And then number two, what was the number two? Oh my God. I was so passionate about that number one. When you fill out the survey, when you're registering your child for school for the first time, they will automatically test your child if they say that they're Spanish spoken at home. So make sure you just mark English if you know that your child knows like English, because the whole point of bilingual is to transition them out of the Spanish into English. So do not put your child in there because you think that's going to teach them how to speak
Spanish. Yeah, and there's actual studies. I remember when I was at UIC that said that actually it was a disadvantage, some of those ESL programs to kids. They would thrive better if you just threw them in an all English class, and they would pick it up a lot quicker versus la manzana, and the apple. Like it just took them a lot longer because you're going through all this curriculum. Me personally, I was like, get me out of this class. Like I don't need this. I was in third grade telling my mom, take me out of this because I transferred from uptown. We used to live in uptown in Chicago, and I went to a public school there, and I spoke English. I think I was born only speaking Spanish at first, of course, but then once I went to school, I picked it up really quickly. And when they transferred me over to Albany Park on the northwest side of Chicago, they just put me in ESL right away. And I was like, why am I here? Like, stop putting me in this class. And my mom had to go and take me out of it because I was complaining. Like, I'm not happy here. I don't want to do this. I know English. Like, get me out.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, I know it's 9:27. I wanted to make sure I thank Mary for being our guest today. And do you have any final thoughts? Do you want to share anything with our viewers about what you do, or anything in that sense?
Yeah, I definitely say that yes, this is very hard, very strange, very emotional for everybody, but we all have to do what is best for our families. And we have to pray about it, pray real hard that people recognize what the solution is and they start doing what is asked of us. And also, as a health and fitness coach, I'm available to anyone who has goals to start getting healthy. And whether it's gaining weight or losing weight, there's healthy ways to do it. Look, Jennifer
Or
and
building
Christina
muscle?
has started. So yeah, we're all in The Biggest Loser. So trying to committing sometimes takes having someone on your side. We all go to the girlfriend and like, hey, let's start working out. And the girlfriend's like, yeah. But then you're like, they're like, no, not really. So if your goal is to start losing weight, you have to find the community, and we have that community for you.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So I wanted to make sure that we thank everyone. Thank you, Mary, for jumping on. Christina, do you have any final words that you want to share before I go into announcements?
Sure. Same thing. I think just do what's best for your family, making sure that you're really doing your homework, use your voice, go on those surveys, and then whatever you choose, just be mindful of your children's social emotional health. I know that it's not easy to deal with that, but I think social emotional health is so essential. That your baby. Social emotional health is so essential because if you're not right emotionally, you're not going to be able to work academically. So be mindful of that. Talk to your kids, love on them, ask them how they're doing on a daily basis. Find ways to get out and get some fresh air as a family, work out together, interact with one another. It is so important in these times. One, because it's going to build your family unit, but two, right now with all this stuff that's happening, you really need to just be open as a family, discuss things, and love on each other, and don't judge. So for all those parents who are out there making decisions on how this is going to work, and if someone says they want to keep their kids home, don't judge them for that. And for the ones that want to bring them to school, don't judge them for that either, because again, like we just said, what's right for your family may not be right for what is for another person's. Being judgmental, don't give your opinion about it, because this is hard enough as it is. So love one another, respect one another, decisions and all this situation, and move forward with research, prayer, and love.
Well said. I think that's a big deal. Do what's best for your family and don't judge one another, right? Because you do something, it might not be the way someone else does, right? Whether it's keeping them or taking them, I definitely piggyback on what you just said, right? Because last thing we want is give mom guilt. We all know what mom guilt feels like. And
Mhm.
that's one of the worst feelings to feel. So for us as women to bash one another, to say, "Oh, who does she think she is?" Right? Like, how dare she send her kids back to school? Like, stop it. Like, this ain't the time to be doing all of that, right? We could see how quickly things go wrong with Goya. Can you imagine this? Like, no, like it's not that serious, right? So, I want to make sure that I encourage women to empower themselves, just like Christina said. If you need any information, Christina is an educator. You could definitely, I'm sure she'll be more than happy to help anyone navigate the system. I'm sure we have connections and resources if anyone needs advice, like they don't know, or you want the links, or you want to figure out homeschooling. Like, we're all figuring this stuff out together. It's not a or I'm in this alone type situation. Because trust me, I'm asking people about homeschooling. I'm just not Googling by myself. I'm like, okay, you do it. What do you do? I apologize. I have my child. She's having too much fun right now, the 10-month-old. So, um, so I want to encourage that. And of course, announcements, right? I want to make sure I share with everybody that we do have, like Mary said, the biggest loser. It's an accountability group for weight loss. She is very active in that community. Both me and Christina are very active in that community, where we focus on just getting healthier. We focus on building the systems and getting the habits in place. We do have a run coming up, right? And that is something that I love running. Now, it's not to say walkers can't be part of it. If you're a walker, you're still welcome to join. The goal is to start the habit. It has nothing to do with I need to be a sprinter. I need to run at this mileage, this time frame, right? That's not the purpose of this. It's to start the habit now. And for me, I think out of all, like I was sharing with Mary, out of all the type of workouts and athletic activities I've done in my life, right, this is the one, running, that has been able to help me the most mentally and physically. Like, I could lose weight very quickly when I start running. I can, get a lot of breakthroughs when I run. Like, the way that my mind thinks when I'm in a running motion is so different than if I was lifting weights, or if I was swimming, right? Or if I was doing something else. It's totally different for me. So I want to encourage people to sign up. It's August 2nd, our run, walk or jog. You can do a 5K, a 10K, or a half marathon. Huh?
And so I'll be doing a combo. I'll be doing the hybrid walk run.
She's doing the hybrid for a 10K. I know me and Mary both doing the half marathon, but we have a lot of women doing the 5Ks that's walking. And this is all virtual. You don't have to meet anyone unless you want to, right? But you can do this from the comfort of your neighborhood. So we do have a community specifically for that, where we have training and accountability, and it's free. Wise Fat Girls Run. And we're not calling people fat. That is not what we're doing. We're calling them fearless, authentic, and tenacious, right? We're taking away, we're changing the way the word fat feels. Like, we want to stop making people feel bad about this word fat, right? Like, I ran with people and they did not look like, there's this misconception that runners have to be small and thin and fit. Like, that is not the case at all. I ran with people that were bigger than me, that were my size, that were smaller than me, there was a variety of diversity of body shapes when you're a runner. So and then, of course, we have follow us at Women's Self Development. We have our website, womensselfdevelopment.org. And of course, you can join our free, just general support group, where we have almost 1,500 members there. We just provide support. We share funny memes. We make each other laugh in there. We'll have challenges. And that's Wise Women's Support Group. So thank you so much, ladies, for being on with me this Monday morning. I know we started off the week strong with this show. This is kind of like my pick me up for the week, and we go at it the rest of the week with just awesome energy. That's how I see this. So thank you again, everyone that stayed on with us. And I hope that you have any questions, just reach out to us.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, ladies. God bless you.
Bless you. Bye bye. Thank you.